Okay, my name is Lorenzo Steele Jr., and I'm a former New York City Department Correction Officer. From 1987 to 1999, I worked in Rikers Island. I started a program called the Future Leaders Program, where after leaving the Department of Corrections, I had a lot of knowledge dealing with the consequences of negative decisions and choices that our children are making, not knowing what really takes place in prison. So I met Assemblyman Borland 3 years ago, and we sat down together, and I showed him that basically I go into the schools, I go into the communities to mentor the young children that are at risk, letting them know that you're going to have to change your decisions, because once you're incarcerated, your life changes forever. And right there, Assemblyman Borland wanted to be a part of the program. So we sat down, he said, listen, I must have this program in my community. So for the past 3 years, I've been in several of his schools, PS 150, and if you can imagine going into a school, teaching the children about the what really takes place in prison, and the children not knowing until it's too late, it's alarming. So for my 1 hour workshop, it turned into 13-week workshops in several of his schools. And what we're doing now is we're not launching, we're taking the program to another level. We sat down, we looked at the issues dealing in our communities. There are too many guns in our communities. There are too many people that sometimes just don't care what takes place in the community. So I'm glad to have the church out here today, because what we're asking for the church is we're asking for our volunteers to actually go into some of the schools and mentor to the children. Sometimes just doing hall procedures, doing lunchroom procedures, telling the children to go to your class. Because what's taking place is the teachers are becoming disciplinarians in their schools. They don't have time to take the kids into what they call a save room, because they have to teach the kids math and English. So what we can do, what we get ready to do, is we need a commitment from these churches in the same community to send some volunteers. It could be 5 men, and the men is a big word because a lot of our schools lack men in schools. If you could imagine a principal telling me, Mr. Steele, we just need you to walk through the school. It's alarming when you hear that, because there are no positive male role models in the schools. So we're asking for commitment from the church. If y'all could volunteer some of your men, maybe 5 or 6 men, to come down into these churches that are in your community. That's all we're asking for. And with this mentor program, we're taking it to another level. We're having the elderly. I have a lot of young females that need that grandmother type intuition that we're losing. So we're going to bring some of the females over to some of the elderly centers where they could be mentored by elderly. So they could tell them, back in the days, my mother raised 12 children, they all went to college, and to get them out of the materialistic values that they have today. So this is what we're launching. And also, you'll be hearing about in the September Stop the Violence Tour. Basically, what I'm getting ready to do with the help of Assemblyman Borland, he's spearheading this. He said, listen, we got to do this before the school starts. We're going into each school in his district to mentor to the children about what really takes place. It's a PowerPoint presentation. I'm also a professional photographer, so I show the visual images of what happens in jail, because our children, your children, have no idea of what takes place in prison. And what's happening is they're learning the hard way. They're learning with a felony conviction. I should have done that when I was young. There was a young man, he was about 35 years old, came to the office the other day. And basically, he had committed several crimes. He's a multiple felon. And he came through the office, and he was basically saying, it's hard for me to find work. And basically he said, I wish the assemblyman, I wish this program was here when I was a youth, so I could have made some better choices. And this was a grown man, 35, 40 years old, that wanted to work, but made some bad decisions in the past. So now every time he goes for that job interview, oh, you're a felony. So it's going to be extra hard for him to really find work. So like I said before, we're asking the churches for your commitment. These are our children. These are your children. There's a lot of things going on in our community that people are turning their heads to. There's a lot of people selling drugs right on the same block as a church. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, you got prostitutes, you got gang activity on some of the same blocks that you have in church. The Jesus that I love went to the people. Okay, let's go to the people, and that's what myself, with the help of Assemblyman Borland, we're going to the people. We're going to take this information to the buildings, to the tenants, wherever they reside. That's where this information is going to be taken to. That's the Jesus Christ I know. Let's take it to the people. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and we're going to have Assemblyman Borland come up and speak, and we're going to do a question and answer period. All right, thank you very much.